Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Islamic Finance program, where we are going to discuss Islamically issues related to money and wealth. Now, before I start this topic, we are going to introduce you to some of the students from Cairo who are with me in this program, and we are going to make this a little bit more interactive so that you can all get involved. Now, these students, they study typical Islamic topics at university, from science, language, and normal Islamic subjects. Some of them have some exposure to Islamic finance, others never heard much about Islamic finance. So we are going to take you from the basic concept to more advanced topic, and you will be able to recognize how those principles that Islam puts regarding money, how they work today. Where do we see them? Whether we are talking about global financial crisis, complex products like derivatives, or simple contracts of exchange. We are going to cover this, and you will see that as we are entering a new era where youth especially are getting more in life and they are getting more entrepreneurial, you will realize that this topic is a critical part. And that's why if you study Islam as a whole, you will realize that fiqh of muamalat deals mainly with the business transactions. So before I start, actually I was thinking to share a story just to highlight where Islamic finance fits. It is a story about a father and a son who one day went for a picnic, and before they were ready with the tent and everything, you know, like normal, it started to rain heavily. Everything was completely wet. In that same moment, some of the friends that they were expecting arrived. And it is a custom in our tradition, we welcome our guests, we give them some tea and things like that. However, because everything was completely wet, they couldn't make a tea. There was nothing that was dry. So this father said to his son, he said, "Oh, my son, we want to welcome our guests, make some sort of tea for them. Go and prepare the tea. Find something dry, make a fire, and get some tea going." So this boy, who wanted to please his father, went searching. He couldn't find anything that was dry. Then, after about 10 minutes thinking and searching, he remembered his father is having one small container, like a metal box, where he keeps the money. Now, what he knows about money, it is made from paper. And paper is very good fuel for a fire. So because there was nothing else, it was everything was completely wet, he took all of this money, put it in a big pile, set it alight, and alhamdulillah, in 5 minutes he prepared the tea. Nice tea and everything. So he came smiling to his father and said, "My father, you know, I did it, you know, I made it." So his father said, "My smart, clever boy." Okay? There is nothing dry, and still he was able to prepare some tea for us. So very, extremely clever. So now the question comes for us, what will this father think when he realized what happened in the kitchen? What do you think?
He'll get mad, angry.
Give him a beating.
Now at the core of it, okay, so he's gonna get mad and all of that. At the core of it, what is the problem here in this story?
He didn't teach him financially.
He didn't teach him finance. What was the lesson he should get? What was the lesson he was supposed to get?
He must know money. He must clearly know what is money is. It's just a paper, just no.
So know money, what is the function, what is the purpose of money, all of these things. Now, what was fundamental mistake that this boy did with the money?
Money is just a paper.
Money is just a paper, sure. So is it okay, like any other paper, that it burns and we create a fire out of it? Or is there some other function money is supposed to fulfill?
There's a value behind it.
Value, there is a value behind it.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, as a matter of fact, he wasted lots of dollars. What is beyond, okay, it's a value, it's all of this. Where is the fundamental mistake here?
The father should have put it in the bank.
Did he use money for its intended purpose?
No.
Is money supposed to be, forget the value of the money.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you have this money, they're printing it, you don't know what sort of value it has anymore. It's not worth the paper. But he didn't use money for its intended purpose. This is not how you use money. So what is the purpose of money, for example? Like in this case, what should have he done with the money?
You should have maybe see if you could have bought something to...
Bought something.
Yes.
So if he bought like some sort of charcoal or wood or something like that and set that on fire and made tea, so that would be fine.
That was exactly.
So let's make one thing clear. Number one, no one is blaming the tea. Yeah? Okay, what is the tea here in this story symbolizing? It's a profit.
It's a profit.
It's a profit.
Yes.
It's a gain, some sort of increase. So there is no one in Islam or anywhere else who blames the profit or who don't want to see that profit. So we want that, that's fine, that, you know, we are not against the profit. What we are against is how do you make that profit? What sort of steps you do and how do you use money in that situation? Because we don't want money to be used in a way that go against the nature of money as a medium of exchange, something you buy and sell with, fulfills this function. In fact, in Islam, for money to be useful, we have to convert it, as you will see in this program, we will discuss this in detail. Money must be converted to something that is useful in itself. And then, that's something which we, let's say, call asset. That asset then can be sold or leased, or you can make use of it. To make what? To make a tea, to make a profit. Okay. And this is where you will find fundamental difference between Islamic finance and any other kind of finance. It comes fundamentally on the way you use money. Are you using money, medium of exchange, or are you burning money? How we burn money?
By misusing it.
We burn money by selling and leasing it. So if you go to the conventional bank, what they do with the money? They treat it as a commodity, which is bought and sold. And then it gives birth in between, which is the profit. So this is what we call interest or riba. Money giving birth by going and making profit by itself. Okay? So this little story, in fact, if you understand the core gist of it, there is a verse in Quran that tells us about the people who used to argue. But this trade, you call it, and this interest, aren't they like something that is similar? So why it is one prohibited, one is allowed? Well, this is where it is. Money being used as a commodity and money being used for some other purpose. So as we go throughout this course, you will understand that what Islam wants is to put everything at its right place. So assets are doing what they're supposed to do. In this story, it's a wood, for example. It's doing its job. It's making a fire. It's doing its own job. The money is doing what it's supposed to be doing, which is you buy and sell, you get stuff, exchange things. You understand how much I'm paying for what. So you don't destroy value. Okay? And then a result or a profit from this is something that is halal. You see? Something that is legitimate. I can consume that. Now, Islam talks so much about issue of money, and one of the major sin in Islam is coming from mismanaging your money. In fact, there is no other sin where Allah says that this is waging war against him and his Prophet ﷺ. Only in the money. And only in the money did Muslims wage war, like Abu Bakr, wage war against people who refuse to pay zakat. So issue of money comes, in fact, when you study deeply, one of the question of the Day of Judgment, out of the 4 questions that you will be asked, as Prophet ﷺ said, the feet of the servants will not move until he answered these questions. One of them is about money. And while every other question is single question, money is 2 questions. One is, how did you make it? And then how did you spend it? And not just that, scholars who analyze Sharia, as you will see a little bit later, we will discuss, found that there are 5 key areas that Sharia is trying to preserve, to protect, which we call maqasid of Sharia. But one of these is money. So when we talk about individual, how they protect their wealth, on the level of a state, it's economic system. And we see now, economic system is being undermined. Look at, we are now in Egypt, for example. Look at what's happening with the Egyptian currency. In last 2 weeks, central bank spent hundreds of billions to stabilize it against the speculative attacks that is trying to destroy its value. And why? Because they don't want to take loans from IMF. And now revolution is, and people are so much looking at what's happening, and their economic situation is uncertain. They want more certainty. And this brings us to the statement of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, who in his famous statement, which he said that as a society, when you look at society where everyone is interdependent, Islam in reality wants to establish social order. And he said that you cannot establish Islam until you establish social order and you manage society. And when you think about that statement, he says this is one of the primary duties in Islam, to establish this social order. When you look at the issue of finance and how it affects this social order, you find that much of the chaos in society come from this economic uncertainty and the chaos. So when you connect it, stability of the society, social order, and sin of riba and other things equal to the war, then you understand where this war leads. It's not just on the day of judgment that you will be given sword and wage this war against the one who you cannot even think to wage war, but today this war is manifested on our hearts and minds. Look, most of the countries, divorce rate, for example. I don't know, you are married or not. I think most of you single.
Yes.
Okay. For those viewers who are married, we say, ask yourself, what is the major concern in the marriage these days? Finance. What men, husband and wife argue all day?
Finance.
She wants him to work, he's lazy, he doesn't want to do anything, he just want to watch TV and internet and talk something. Is this what Islam wants from us? So this is what we are going, inshallah, to discuss in this program. Let's take a short break, and then we'll come back to see why did you all answer that question, and if in fact this is Islamic understanding of time and the money. Thank you. So just before the break, we were discussing about some of the Islamic concepts about money. And so let's start first couple of points. We're going to introduce Islamic finance, some key points, and then we will look at couple of key contracts in Islam that we have. Now, we all know that Islam, and we always, for people who are dawah, you meet some people, and first thing what you say to them, Islam is?
Peace.
Okay, peace, this, everybody, different.
It's a way of life.
It's a way of life. It is the way we deal with things in that life. Okay? So it's not just something we say, but it's the way and attitude we adopt in that life. Now, do you think that life affects us? Something around us, we are Muslim, we have certain understanding of things. Do you think that what is outside affects you and me?
Yes. Environment always affects a person.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Let me show you one example to what extent this affects all of us. Okay? I'm going to say something and you give me whatever comes first in your mind.
Okay.
All right? Okay, you ready?
Yes. Okay.
All right. You complete this statement. But don't think. It will spoil the whole idea if you start thinking. Okay? Time is money. Okay? Why did we all say this thing?
Because it's just too precious to us.
Because I think so the brain has been
Indoctrinated.
Is your brain
indoctrinated to such a way.
already programmed?
No.
Now, before we analyze that particular statement, let me ask you and put another statement, and you again, like first time, try to complete it. if I say money is the root of all
Evil.
you are thinking, what is it?
Evil.
Evil? So again, ijma on evil.
Yes.
Okay, so where do you get this idea from? How come you come to this, that time is money and money is the root of all evil? Where did you get this from?
I guess it's the environment.
There is somewhere in the environment where this statement lives.
Where it lives.
Where is that?
These statements have been repeated so often that, you know, it's
So
just, yeah,
Everybody
it's just natural, yeah.
Everybody knows that. How did they get to know this? How did they form the consensus?
Basically, it was you could say from those that were over experience.
Experience? What sort of experience would you need to say that money is the root of all evil?
For example, you would find that families later on realized how much of fighting went into the families and how...
I think this was a very precise statement. People always say evil. It's not, they don't say, oh, it's something bad, but they have always that specific sentence. Do you know actually that this comes from a Bible, this statement?
No idea.
Okay. In fact, even in the Bible doesn't say that. It says that love of the money is the root of all evil, which is a different concept altogether. But let's deal with the first statement. Time is money. What does that mean actually? When time is money?
Precious.
Appreciates with the money?
For example, if you got to watch the time, you got to watch your time. Because every minute you're wasting, basically a person will say every minute is $1.
That is true.
You know.
But if you waste your time, you are wasting something which is very, very valuable. How does that relate to money then?
Managing time is like managing money. How to buy something, managing. So,
in fact, when you think about this principle, that time is money, this is the core principle of interest. Okay? How they charge you interest? They give you some money plus some time.
Yes.
In return for what?
More money.
More money. What is the compensation? What is this interest? For what? For the extra time. Okay? And because this is so widespread, we don't even think about it when we say such a statement. Yes, time is important.
yes.
But how did we link money? We link it because this is something around us, affects us. In fact, when you analyze some of these historical contexts, and some of you like history, you find that those people who came to the Muslim lands brought with them a specific way which was strange of dealing with money and interest. And what we have seen is that Muslims, for this was very strange. This interest, riba, all of these things. So you could see slowly as they took upper hand in society and this new modern system took over, committed Muslims withdrew from the society and business. And their influence on the society diminished. And this other way of dealing with things increased until they completely took over. Okay? So what we are now seeing is that when you are trying to reverse this whole process, it takes some time because this system already affected us so much that we think like this interest-based system. So as we said before, in Islam, for money to be useful, it must be converted then to something that is useful in itself. And this understanding is completely wrong understanding of time and of money. In fact, if you put these statements two together, that time is money and money is the root of all evil, you will get what? That time is evil as well. So it is sort of logical deduction, isn't it? So then we ask ourselves, what is really Islamic answer to this puzzle? What is money in Islam? Money is what? If I say this question,
Life.
okay, if I say that question, money is, and you write me on your, okay, tell me what is the money if I write this. Money is what? Islamically.
Islamically.
Actually, something
Or from your own thinking about money then.
something tangible like gold.
Yeah? So something like gold, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, what other things you get when I say money is?
I'll say money is To use according to your necessity.
Necessity, okay? Okay, what else? Money is
life.
Life.
You will get death if you have no money.
Life, death.
Like that.
Okay, what else is money?
Money is for me, is an item used for transaction, maybe.
Item,
For transactions.
Yes.
okay, for
It's a
transactions.
Medium of exchange, you know.
Okay, medium of exchange.
Yeah.
What other emotion you get when you mention money?
Money is happiness.
Happiness? Happy, okay. Okay, what else is money?
Luxury.
Luxury,
Life.
what else?
Rich, big house, big car, whatever.
Cars, luxury.
Luxury.
Yeah.
So usually
Materials.
whenever we run this exercise with the students, always you will have some extreme answers, like death, life, happiness. Some other people might say some other things, you know, misery, greed, you know. Usually when we talk about people who have money, what is the feeling that you have about these people?
Greed.
Greed. Okay. Okay. So you will realize that there are two extremes whenever somebody talks about money. One is that all negative characteristics, and another one is all positive and the best. Okay? And in Islam, in fact, when you think about money, that's why we call wealth fitna, which means like a trial.
Yes.
It takes you left or right. Depends what's inside of you. As I like Sheikh Muhammad Sharif, he says this is something that magnifies what's in your heart. You know, and that is the reality of it. So it brings out the best or in worst in you. It is like an amplifier. It's like any other tool. You have a computer, you are a smart person, you run a business, it will help you to run it. And using the technology, using the right management tools and so on, this will help you. If you are a person who is not right, then this will amplify that negative side. Okay? Now, why should person learn about Islamic finance?
Well, it's important for Muslims to know how to, you know, deal with money, manage money. You know, so that's one of the reasons, I would say.
Sure. So for Muslims, it's really
Yeah.
very important as a part of their religion
Yeah.
and part of so many other rules and muamalat in general. In fact, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said time will come when one will not care how they make money, whether it's legal or illegal.
There you go.
And this is like a warning, like a threat for the people. Not only do they not know, but they don't care to know. They don't want to know. You know, there could be a person genuinely don't understand, but he's trying. But we have a situation where a person could learn, there are some avenues, but he is not trying. Now today, we have to ask ourselves, do we fall under the description of the people who don't care how we make money? Is it legal or illegal? And not just how we make, but how we spend it. Do we come under this threat? Do we follow what is permissible, halal, and to the best of our abilities? Thank you very much. Join us for the next time. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah.